Captain Lyra stood tall on the command deck of the Varelian cruiser. Her black armor gleamed under the soft lights, and her sharp eyes scanned the stars outside the wide glass window. The stars never lied, cold, distant, and always moving, much like her thoughts. She had served the Empire for over 10 years, from the time she was old enough to fight. Lyra had been trained to believe in the greatness of her people. The Varelians were strong, smart, and disciplined. They were the rulers of many planets, and they looked down on other races, especially humans. Humans, she believed, were weak. They were loud, emotional, and undisciplined. The Empire taught that humans were a danger to order, that they were always fighting among themselves, always spreading chaos. Lyra had fought in several battles against humans. She had seen how they scrambled in fear, how they shouted and ran when things went wrong. To her, they were like wild animals trying to act brave. She felt no pity for them, only cold duty. Now, her new mission had brought her to a dusty planet on the edge of Varelian space. The planet was not important, just a small colony where a group of humans had been captured during a failed rebellion. The prisoners were kept in a fenced zone near an old mining facility. Lyra had been sent to take command of the station and oversee the prisoners. She didn't understand why the High Command had chosen her. It felt like a punishment. There were no real enemies here, no battles to fight, just prisoners to watch over and guards to manage. It was boring work. When she arrived, she walked to the prisoner zone. The humans looked at her with fear and hate. Some shouted, some turned away. She ignored them all. They were nothing to her. Then she saw him. One of the prisoners was sitting quietly in the corner of the camp, fixing a broken water pump. He didn't look up when she passed. He just kept working, calm and focused. Lyra stopped. She watched him for a few moments. There was something strange about him. He didn't act like the others. No fear, no anger, just silence. "Who is that?" she asked one of her officers. "His name is Alex," the officer replied. "He was an engineer before he was captured. He helps fix things around the camp." Lyra frowned. "Why does he help us?" The officer shrugged. "He says it makes things easier for everyone." That answer bothered her. Humans did not do things for others without reason. At least, that's what she had always believed. Later that day, Lyra checked the reports. Alex had been in the camp for 6 months. No signs of violence. No attempts to escape. He kept himself and followed the rules. She decided to watch him more closely. She didn't know why. Maybe it was boredom. Maybe it was curiosity. Over the next few days, she saw him repairing wires, fixing broken tools, and helping other prisoners when they were sick or tired. He never asked for anything. He never argued. Lyra found herself wondering what he was thinking. Did he hate her? Did he fear her? Or was he just waiting for the right moment to try something? One night, there was a power failure in the main security tower. The guards struggled to fix the controls. The camp lights went dark, and alarms rang across the base. Lyra arrived at the tower quickly. The backup system failed to start. It was a serious problem. If the system stayed down, prisoners could escape, or worse. Then, a voice spoke behind her. "I can fix it." She turned and saw Alex standing at the entrance, 2 guards holding him. "He says he knows how to restore the system." When the guard said, "Do we let him try?" Lyra stared at Alex. His face was calm. His hands were steady. There was no fear in his eyes. She made a choice. "Let him in, but I will watch him myself." Alex walked to the control panel, looked at the wires, and started working. In less than 10 minutes, the lights returned. The system was stable. The alarm stopped. Lyra said nothing. She just watched him. When he turned to leave, she stopped him. "Why did you help us?" He paused. "Because it was the right thing to do." Those words stayed with her long after he was gone. They echoed in her mind as she stood again before the stars. For the first time, Captain Lyra felt something she could not explain. It was not trust. It was not friendship. But it was the beginning of something different. The next morning, Lyra sat in her command room, staring at the reports. She had not slept much. Her mind kept going back to Alex and his words. because it was the right thing to do. Simple words, but they made her feel unsure. She didn't like that feeling. She stood and walked toward the observation deck. From there, she could see the camp. Prisoners were moving about, doing their daily tasks. The guards stood watch, weapons ready. Everything looked normal, but her eyes searched for one man. She found him near the fence, helping an older prisoner who had fallen. Alex lifted the man gently and helped him sit. Then he picked up the bucket the man had dropped and handed it back with a small nod. Lyra felt a strange tightness in her chest. She didn't know what it meant. Later that day, she went to the prisoner zone again. As she walked through, some prisoners turned away. Others glared. But Alex looked up and gave her a small nod. It was not fear. It was not hate. Just a quiet greeting. "Alex," she said. He stood. "Yes, Captain?" "Walk with me." He hesitated, but followed. They walked along the fence, past the guards, past the other prisoners. Lyra spoke first. "You could have used a power failure to escape, but you didn't. Why?" Alex looked ahead. "Because I don't run. I fix things. That's what I do. Even for your enemies?" He smiled a little. "I don't see people that way. If someone is in trouble and I can help, I help. It doesn't matter who they are." Lyra was quiet. She had never met someone who thought like that. In her world, loyalty to your kind came first. Everything else was weakness. "What did you do before you were captured?" she asked. "I was a ship engineer. I fixed engines, power cores, life support systems. Then the war came. I joined the resistance, helped with supply routes and repairs. We lost. I was taken. You don't seem angry." He shrugged. "Anger doesn't fix anything. It just burns you from the inside." She didn't reply. They walked in silence for a while. When they reached the end of the path, she turned to face him. "You may return to your work." He nodded and walked away. That night, Lyra stayed up reading old mission logs. She looked up records about humans who had been captured. Many fought, many died, but a few, like Alex, just tried to survive. She began to wonder if everything she had learned about humans was true. The next week passed slowly. Each day, Lyra watched Alex. He repaired machines, helped the sick, shared his food. He never asked for favors. He never complained. Her second-in-command, Rollick, noticed her interest. "Captain, may I speak freely?" he asked one afternoon. "Go ahead." "You spend too much time watching that human. The others are starting to talk." "I'm doing my duty," she said sharply. "I'm not sure if that's all, Captain." She stared at him. "Be careful, Rollick." He bowed and left. Lyra felt anger rise in her, but not just at Rollick. She was angry at herself. Why was she spending so much time thinking about one human? That evening, a young guard came to her. "Captain, there's a problem in the prisoner zone. You should see it." She followed him and found a small crowd gathered. One of the machines that purified water had burst. A pipe had snapped, and water was leaking everywhere. Prisoners shouted and pushed, and guards tried to keep control. Alex was already there, trying to close the valve. "Let him work." Lyra ordered. Everyone stepped back. Alex opened a panel and used a metal rod to turn the valve. Slowly, the water stopped. He turned to her. "I need new parts or we'll break again." She nodded. "I will get them." As the crowd cleared, Alex looked at her. "Thank you." Lyra walked away quickly. Her heart was beating too fast. That night, she sat alone in her room. Her mind was full of thoughts. She remembered how she used to see humans. Wild, weak, and dangerous. But Alex was none of those things. She looked out at the stars again. For the first time, they didn't feel cold. They felt open, like the start of something new. The days passed slowly, but something had changed. Lyra still carried out her duties, but her thoughts often returned to Alex. She would catch herself watching him from the tower windows. He moved with quiet purpose, always helping, always working. One afternoon, Lyra walked through the camp again. She pretended to inspect the security fence, but she kept glancing at Alex. He was sitting with two younger prisoners, showing them how to fix a small power unit. His voice was calm and kind. The others listened closely. He teaches them, said a guard standing nearby, like he's a school teacher. Lyra nodded without speaking. Later that evening, a storm rolled across the planet. Heavy winds howled through the camp, shaking the buildings. Rain poured down in sheets. One of the outer walls of the prisoner housing collapsed. Lyra rushed to the scene with her guards. Inside, several prisoners were injured. One of them was trapped under a metal beam. Panic filled the room. Alex was already there, pushing through the wreckage. "We need to lift this beam," he shouted. "Help me." Lyra joined him without thinking. Together, with 2 guards, they lifted the beam and pulled the injured man free. Alex checked the man's pulse and nodded. "He's alive, but we need to stop the bleeding." Lyra watched as Alex tore off part of his own shirt and pressed it against the wound. "Get a med kit," she ordered. A guard ran off. Alex kept pressure on the wound until help arrived. When it was done, he looked at her. "Thank you," he said again. She didn't know what to say. She just nodded and left. The next morning, she found herself waiting for him outside the supply tent. "Alex," she said when he approached. "Captain?" "Walk with me." They walked together through the outer yard. The rain had passed, leaving the ground wet and the air cool. "You are not like the others," Lyra said. "I don't know about that," he replied. "Maybe I just gave up on hating. It costs too much." She looked at him. "You don't hate us? After everything?" He paused. "Some do. I used to. But hate eats you up. I just want to survive. Maybe even help someone else survive." "You help everyone, even your captors." "People are people," Alex said. "Not all Varelians are cruel. Not all humans are good. I judge by actions." That answer stayed in her mind long after they finished their walk. In the following days, Lyra spoke with Alex more often. Sometimes it was about small things, how to improve water flow or fix old power cells. Other times, their talks grew deeper. He told her about his home on Earth, about the blue skies and forests. She told him about the training domes of Aurelia, where she learned to fight since childhood. One evening, they sat together near the edge of the camp. No one else was nearby. "Do you miss it?" she asked. "Earth," he said. "Yes, every day. But I know I may never see it again." She was quiet. Then she said, "I was raised to believe humans were our enemy. But now I don't know. Maybe that means you're starting to see the truth." She looked at him. "And what is the truth?" "That people are more than flags and uniforms," Alex said. "We all want the same things. Safety, kindness, a reason to wake up in the morning." Lyra turned away, hiding the emotions in her eyes. She wasn't supposed to feel this way. A few days later, she was called to the command center. A supply ship had arrived from the central base. With it came new orders. Rollick handed her the message. His eyes were cold. "What is it?" she asked. "Command wants to rotate the prisoners. They're moving some to deeper camps, including the one called Alex." Her hands tightened on the paper. "When?" "Tomorrow morning." Lyra walked out in silence. Her mind raced. She had grown used to seeing Alex every day. Now he was being taken away. That night, she sat alone in her room, staring at the stars. She felt something she had never felt before. Loss. She didn't want him to go, and that scared her more than anything else. Lyra stood on the platform the next morning, watching the transport ship land. Dust blew into the air as the engines roared. Her eyes stayed on the camp gates. Any moment now, Alex would be brought out with the others being moved. Her heart felt heavy. She had tried to sleep, but her mind had been full of memories. His voice, his calm way of speaking, the way he helped others, the way he made her question everything. She heard footsteps and turned. Rollick stood beside her. "They're ready," he said. Lyra nodded. "Bring the prisoners." Rollick walked off to give the order. A few minutes later, a group of prisoners walked out under guard. Alex was among them, carrying a small bag. He looked around and then saw her. He gave a small nod. Lyra felt her throat tighten. She stepped down from the platform and walked toward him. "Captain," Alex said softly. "They're moving you to a different camp," she said. "I know." There was a long pause. "Thank you," he said, "for treating me like a person. Lyra looked at him. She wanted to say something, but the words didn't come. She only managed a quiet, safe journey. He smiled slightly. You too. The guards pushed the prisoners forward. Alex kept his eyes on her until the last moment. Then he stepped onto the ship. Lyra watched the doors close. The engines fired again, and the transport rose into the sky until it vanished. She turned and walked back to the command tower. Everything felt colder. The next few days dragged. The camp was quieter without Alex. Lyra still performed her duties, but her thoughts were far away. Every time she passed the spot where they used to talk, she slowed down. Rollick noticed. You miss him, he said one day. Lyra looked at him. He was different. He was a human that hasn't changed. No, but I have. Rollick frowned. This is dangerous talk. You are a captain of the Empire. Your duty is clear. Maybe it used to be. She left him standing there, confused and angry. That night, Lyra received a secret message. It was coded and urgent. She opened it in her private room. Security breach at Camp Delta. Transport attacked. Prisoners missing. Suspect rebel forces involved. Lyra read the message again. Alex's transport had been attacked. Her hand shook. She had no more. She called one of her most trusted guards. Prepare a scout ship. We're going to search the crash site. The guard hesitated. That's outside our orders. I don't care. Get ready. An hour later, Lyra flew low over the forest where the transport had gone down. The crash site was still smoking. Debris was scattered across the trees. She stepped out and looked around. Her boots sank slightly in the mud. Bodies were found, both guards and prisoners. But not all. Any signs of survivors? She asked. One of the searchers called out. Tracks heading north. Looks like a small group escaped. Follow them. They followed the tracks for hours. Then they found something. A makeshift camp. Empty now, but used recently. And near the ashes of the fire, a piece of metal. A tool with a mark on it. Her heart jumped. It was the same tool Alex always carried. He was here, she whispered. The guard beside her asked, Do we keep searching? Lyra looked into the trees. She thought about going back, but her mind said no. We keep going. They followed the trail until nightfall. At last, they saw a light between the trees. A group of humans had gathered in a hidden cave. Refugees. Survivors. Lyra raised a hand. Stay here. I'll go alone. She walked into the cave slowly. The people inside froze when they saw her. Some reached for weapons. I'm not here to fight, she said. A man stepped forward. He had a bandage on his arm. His clothes were torn, but his eyes were steady. Captain, Alex said. Lyra let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. You're alive. He nodded. Barely. We escaped into the woods. A few of us made it. She looked at the others. Wounded, tired, scared. They were not rebels. Just people trying to live. Alex stepped closer. Why are you here? Lyra looked into his eyes. Because I couldn't let you go. The cave was silent. Even the wind outside stopped. Alex smiled gently. Then I'm glad you came. And in that quiet moment, something changed between them. Something neither of them could deny. Alex helped Lyra step over the rocks as they left the cave. The others watched quietly, unsure what to think. Some feared her. Others were simply tired. But no one stopped her. They walked a little way from the cave. Lyra looked up at the stars and took a deep breath. I don't know what happens next, she said. We survive, Alex replied. That's what matters now. She looked at him. They will come looking for me. For you. For all of us. Then we stay one step ahead. Lyra nodded. She never thought she would run from her own people. But here she was, standing beside a human, planning to hide with him. It felt strange, but it also felt right. They returned to the cave. Lyra spoke to the group. We need to move. This place is not safe anymore. The Empire will send scouts. A few voices whispered. One woman stepped forward. Why should we trust you? Because I had a chance to turn you in, Lyra said. I didn't. The woman looked at Alex. He nodded. She saved me, She saved all of us. That was enough. The group began packing what little they had. Lyra and Alex led them through the forest. The journey was slow. Some were hurt. Some were very old. But no one gave up. Along the way, Lyra taught them how to avoid patrols, how to hide their tracks. She used all the skills she had learned as a soldier. Alex helped too. He fixed broken carts and shared food with the children. One night, they camped near a river. The moonlight shone on the water, soft and silver. Alex sat beside Lyra. Do you regret it? Leaving your command? She thought for a moment. No, but it's hard. I don't know what I am now. Not a captain, not a citizen. You're still you, Alex said, and that's enough. She looked at him. And what about you? What will you do if we survive this? He smiled. I haven't thought that far. One step at a time. She nodded. For the first time in years, she didn't feel alone. Days passed. They found an old farm hidden deep in the forest. It had been abandoned long ago, but the building still stood. The group decided to stay there for a while. Lyra and Alex worked together to fix the roof and clean the rooms. The others planted vegetables and gathered supplies. Slowly, the place began to feel like a home. One evening, Lyra walked to the edge of the field. She saw Alex sitting under a tree, drawing the dirt with a stick. She joined him. What are you drawing? Just a plan for the garden, he said. I thought we could grow food near the house. Easier for the older ones. She smiled. You always think of others. He looked at her. So, do you? They sat in silence for a while. Then she said, I used to hate humans. Truly, I believed you were the enemy. And now, she looked at him. Now I see someone who risks everything to help others. Someone who makes me believe in something better. Alex reached out and took her hand. And I see someone strong enough to change. That takes courage. Her fingers curled around his. For the first time, she let herself smile without fear. The peace did not last. One morning, a scout returned from a supply run. Empire drone spotted near the old road. He said, They're searching the forest. Lyra stood. They're getting closer. We need to be ready. Alex came to her side. We can't run forever. No, she said, but we can protect these people. We won't let them be taken again. They spent the next 2 days preparing. Lyra trained the young men and women to use simple traps. Alex reinforced the buildings. Everyone helped. Lyra and Alex worked side by side. They didn't speak much, but they didn't need to. Their actions showed their bond. On the third night, a drone flew over the farm. Lyra shot it down with a hidden rifle, but they all knew it was too late. The Empire would come soon. Lyra stood before the group. You have a choice, she said. We can run again, or we can stay and fight. One by one, the people chose to stay. They were tired of running. Lyra looked at Alex. Whatever happens, I'm glad I met you. He nodded. We stand together. The stars above them were quiet, but in their hearts, there was a fire that would not go out. Whatever came next, they were ready. The forest was quiet the next morning. Fog hung low over the fields. Everyone in the farm camp was awake before sunrise. They knew the Empire would come soon. Lyra walked between the buildings, checking the traps and giving orders. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. Alex followed her, carrying a pack of tools and parts. The west wall is strong, he said, but the side gate needs more support. I'll send 2 to fix it, Lyra said. He nodded. And the kids are hiding in the cellar, just like we planned. Lyra stopped and looked at him. You've done so much. So have you, Alex said. We make a good team. They stood for a moment in the morning light. Then Lyra turned and moved on. Scouts returned before noon. 3 ships. One said, They'll land soon. Lyra gathered everyone near the center of the farm. We hold our ground, she said. Do not fight unless you must. Stay hidden unless you're found. We want to survive, not to be heroes. People nodded. Some were scared, but no one ran. As the ships landed in the distance, the sound of engines filled the air. Dust and leaves flew. Then came silence. Lyra took her position behind the main house. Alex stayed close, holding a small communicator. They watched the road. Minutes felt like hours. Then the soldiers came. They wore black armor, like Lyra once had. Their steps were fast, trained. They spread out and moved toward the buildings. One stepped into a trap and fell with a shout. Another ducked just in time. The others raised their weapons. Lyra gave the signal. Smoke bombs exploded near the front fence. Confusion spread. The soldiers shouted to each other. Alex grabbed Lyra's hand. "We need to move now." They ran behind the barns, leading a small group of fighters. Shots rang out. A few returned fire from cover, but most stuck to the shadows. Lyra heard a voice on enemy radio. "Target not found yet. Keep searching." They were looking for her. She knew it. She looked at Alex. "If they find you, they'll kill you." "Then they won't find me," he said. But even as he said it, they heard someone cry out. A young boy had been caught running from the barn. A soldier grabbed him. Without thinking, Lyra ran forward. She slammed into the soldier and knocked him down. The boy escaped. Another soldier turned and raised his weapon. Alex tackled him from the side. They fell into the dirt, struggling. Lyra grabbed the tool from the ground and knocked the weapon away. The soldier crawled back and reached for his radio. Target located. "It's her." Now they knew. The rest would come. "We have to go," Alex said. "Now." They ran back toward the cellar. Inside, the children and older people waited. Lyra slammed the door and sealed it. "They know it's me," she said. "They'll burn this place down." "Then we leave," said one of the older men. "We take the hidden path through the valley." "They will follow," Lyra said. "We make them chase the wrong group," Alex said. "We split up. It was risky, but they had no choice." Lyra chose 10 of the strongest. Alex would lead the rest through the valley. Before they split, Lyra pulled Alex aside. "You lead them to safety." "And you?" "I'll draw them away." "They'll kill you." "Maybe, but it will give you time." Alex shook his head. "Not without you." "You must," she said. "Please." He looked into her eyes. Then he reached forward and touched her cheek. "Come back to me," he said. She nodded. Then she turned and disappeared into the trees. Alex led the others into the valley. They moved fast, silent, careful. Behind them, the sounds of battle grew louder. Smoke rose in the sky. He kept walking, hoping, praying. Far behind, Lyra moved from tree to tree. She shot at the soldiers and left false trails. She used every trick she knew. Each moment she stayed free meant more time for Alex and the others. But soon they surrounded her. She had no more traps, no more smoke. A voice shouted, "Drop your weapon." She stood tall. "Lyra of the Empire," the voice said, "you are under arrest." She looked at the trees one last time. Then she dropped her weapon. Her hands were bound. They pushed her into a ship. As it rose into the sky, she closed her eyes. She had bought them time. She had no regrets. The ship landed in the Empire's capital. Guards pulled Lyra out and led her through long halls. Her hands were still tied. Soldiers looked at her with cold eyes. She walked with her head held high. She had made her choice. They locked her in a small cell made of dark metal. The light was dim. She sat on the bench and waited. Hours passed. Maybe more. She didn't know. Then the door opened. A tall figure stepped inside. It was Commander Voss, her old superior. He looked at her with sharp eyes. "You have betrayed your people," he said. Lyra said nothing. "You helped a human escape. You fought against your own soldiers." Still, she stayed quiet. Voss walked closer. "You will be tried and punished. Unless you speak now. Say you were forced. Say it was a mistake." Lyra stood. "I did it because it was right." Voss stared at her. "Then you will be made an example." He left the cell. The door closed again. For the next few days, no one came. Lyra stayed alone. She thought of Alex. She wondered if he had made it to safety. She hoped he had. Then one night, the door opened again. A soldier entered. He looked young, nervous. "I have a message," he whispered. From someone who knows Alex. He is alive. He and the others are safe. Lyra stepped forward. Where? Far from here. A hidden colony. They sent word. They remember what you did. Her chest filled with warmth. That was all she needed to hear. The soldier left. Days passed. Lyra waited. One morning, guards came again. They took her to the court hall. Tall walls, cold stone, many eyes. Varelian leaders sat in high chairs. The judge spoke. Lyra, you are charged with treason, aiding the enemy, and desertion. Do you have anything to say? Lyra looked around. Yes, I was raised to believe humans were enemies. I believed they were weak. I believed they were a threat. But I was wrong. I met one who showed me truth. He showed me kindness, strength, and hope. I chose to stand with him because he gave me a reason to believe in peace. The hall was silent. The judge said, You have spoken clearly. The punishment is life exile. You will be sent far from this world. Lyra nodded. It was better than death. It was better than losing hope. They placed her on a transport. The ship flew for many days. No one spoke to her. No one told her where they were going. At last, they landed on a small moon, a quiet place, a place where few lived. The guards gave her supplies and left. Lyra stood alone on the dusty ground. Wind moved softly through grass. A small house stood nearby. She walked toward it. To her surprise, someone stepped out of the house. It was Alex. She stopped. Her eyes went wide. You, he smiled. We heard where they were sending you. We found a way. Lyra felt tears rise. She had not cried in years. Alex walked to her and took her hand. You're safe now, he said, and not alone. She looked around. A few others stood nearby. Some faces she knew from the camp. They waved and smiled. Alex led her inside. The house was small but warm. The fire was lit. The table had food. Lyra sat down. Her body was tired, but her heart was full. We started again here, Alex said. A new home, a new chance. Lyra reached for his hand. Thank you for waiting. I never stopped believing you would come. The days that followed were simple. Lyra helped grow food. She taught others how to defend themselves. She laughed for the first time in years. One night, she and Alex sat under the stars. Do you miss your old life? He asked. No, she said. That life was full of fear and hate. This one has peace. And you? He smiled. Then it was worth everything. She leaned against him. The stars above them looked soft and kind now. Not cold, not distant. Lyra once despised humans. But now, she had found love, family, and a future. She was no longer a captain of war. She was something better. She was free.